Everyone talks about the Lamy 2000. The Pilot Metropolitan gets recommended in every beginner thread. The Kaweco Sport shows up in every pocket carry post. But walk into any fountain pen forum and ask what people actually ink up every single day, and you get a completely different list. The pens that earn long-term loyalty are not the ones with the biggest marketing budgets. They are the ones that quietly solve the problems the famous pens leave behind. No sponsors, no free boxes, just the 10 pens that the community trusts when no one is watching. If this just changed your wish list, hit subscribe. New videos every week on the pens the community actually trusts. Number 10. Platinum Preppy. $7 to $9. Jet pens, Goulet pens, Amazon. This pen does something no other pen at any price does. It has a slip seal cap that keeps the ink wet for months. Most fountain pens will hard start after a week of neglect. The Preppy writes immediately after 6 months on a shelf. That is not marketing. That is engineering. Platinum built a cap seal so tight that the feed never dries out. For less than the price of lunch, you get a pen that forgives every bad habit a new user brings to the hobby. The nib is smooth. The nib is wet. People mistake the writing experience for something 3 times the price. The body is plastic. The clip is flimsy. None of that matters. The Preppy writes when you need it to. The community caught on years ago. People ordered one out of curiosity. Then they ordered 5 more in different nib sizes and started using them as dedicated ink testers. When a pen becomes the tool you trust for expensive inks, it has earned something marketing cannot buy. At $7, a clogged feed is an inconvenience rather than a tragedy. That is why it is number 10. Number 9. Kaweco Sport. $40 to $55. Goulet pens, Anderson pens, Jet pens, Blick Art materials. This is the pocket pen that launched 1,000 everyday carry posts. The Sport is tiny when capped, 10.5 centimeters, perfectly balanced when posted. It fits in a shirt pocket, a jeans pocket, clipped to a notebook cover. The form factor is the reason people buy it. The cult following is why they keep it inked. Kaweco has been making this exact shape since the 1930s. The design has not needed an update because it solved portability the first time. You can get it in resin or brass. The brass version develops a patina and weighs enough to feel substantial. The resin version is light enough that you forget it is there. Both use the same nibs. Smooth, reliable, not particularly exciting. The Sport takes standard international cartridges, which means you can refill it almost anywhere. The community's relationship with the Sport is straightforward. It is not the smoothest pen. It is not the wettest writer. It is always there, always ready, always small enough that carrying it costs you nothing. If you have ever wondered what it is actually like to carry a fountain pen every single day without thinking about it, the Kaweco Sport is the answer. For $50 or less, you find out. Number 8. Pilot Metropolitan. $15 to $20. Amazon, Staples, Office Depot, Goulet pens, Jet pens. This is the gateway pen everyone recommends. For once, the hype is justified. The Metropolitan has converted more people to fountain pens than any other model in the last decade. Pilot included a squeeze converter in the box. You can use bottled ink immediately. No $15 accessory purchase. That is rare at this price. The nib is a Japanese medium, which writes closer to a Western fine, and it is famously smooth. Pilot's quality control is tight. You can buy a Metropolitan off the shelf at Staples and expect it to write as well as one ordered from Goulet. Same factory, same nib, same ink flow. The body is brass with a glossy finish. It has weight. It feels like it should cost more. The grip section is metal, which some people love and others find too slippery or too cold. That is the only real complaint, and it is minor. The Metropolitan does not do anything experimental. No unique filling system, no demonstrator body, no flex nib. It just writes smoothly, holds enough ink to matter, and costs less than a tank of gas. The pen sits at number 8 because it is not secretly better. It is openly better. Everyone already knows. The community keeps recommending it because it keeps working. If you are coming from ballpoints and you want to know what a fountain pen is supposed to feel like, this is the pen that answers the question for $20. Number 7. TWSBI Eco. $32 to $36. Goulet, pens, Anderson pens, Jet pens, Vaniss pens. This is where the list shifts from good value to unfair advantage. The Eco is a piston filler with a demonstrator body. You can see the ink sloshing inside. You can watch the piston mechanism draw ink directly from the bottle. No cartridges, no converters. Just a twist of the blind cap, and the barrel fills with nearly 2 milliliters of ink. That is enough to write for weeks. Most cartridge pens hold about 1 milliliter. The Eco holds double. The body is clear plastic, tough enough that it does not crack under normal use. Available in a dozen colors. The nib is smooth and wet. TWSBI grinds their nibs a little broader than Western standards, so a medium writes more like a Western broad. The flow is generous. If you are using a dry ink, the Eco will make it behave. The pen is also completely serviceable. TWSBI sells replacement parts and silicone grease on their site. If the piston seal wears out after a year of heavy use, you buy a new seal for a couple of dollars and replace it yourself in 5 minutes. The community loves the Eco because it removes the two biggest limitations of entry-level pens: ink capacity, opacity. You can see what is inked. You can see how much is left. You can write for a month without thinking about a refill. That is why it is number 7, number 6. Lamy Safari and AL Star, $25 to $40. Goulet pens, Jet pens, Amazon, Blick Art Materials. This pen divides the community. That tension is part of what makes it secretly better than its reputation. The Safari is a design icon. It won awards in the 80s for its triangular grip and snap cap design. It still looks modern 40 years later. The grip section forces your fingers into a tripod hold. Some people find it comfortable. Others find it unbearable. There is no middle ground. If the grip works for you, the Safari becomes one of the most reliable daily writers at any price. The community's consensus is blunt. Try one before you buy 3. The AL Star is the same pen with an aluminum body instead of plastic. It costs about $10 more. Both models use the same nibs. Steel, smooth, slightly dry compared to Japanese pens at the same price. The unfair advantage is the interchangeable nib system. Lamy sells replacement nibs for $12 to $15. You can swap them in seconds. No tools. Just pull the old nib off the feed and press the new one on. That modularity is rare outside of pens that cost 3 times as much. The Safari takes either cartridges or Lamy's proprietary piston converter. The pen is widely available. You can walk into Blick Art Materials or order one from Amazon and have it the next day. The community keeps coming back to the Safari because it shows up when you need it. No fuss, no babying, no special care. That is why it is number 6, even though half the forum will tell you the grip is a deal breaker. Number 5, Pelikan M200 and M205, $110 to $140. Goulet pens, Anderson pens, Pen Chalet. This is where the list crosses into expensive territory. The Pelikan is still secretly better than the pens it gets compared to. The M200 is a German-made piston filler with a resin body and a steel nib. The M205 is the same pen with demonstrator variants and special edition colors. Same internal mechanism. Smooth, reliable, tested over decades. Pelikan has been making piston fillers since the 1920s. The nib is wet and smooth, not buttery, not glass-like. Dependable, consistent flow with a slight bit of feedback that lets you feel the paper. The wetness is the signature. If you are used to drier Japanese nibs or entry-level European pens, the Pelikan will feel like it is laying down too much ink at first. It is not. That is the design. Pelikan nibs are tuned to write wet because wet flow reduces skipping and hard starts. The pen holds about 1.5 milliliters of ink. The body is small and light. Posted, it is comfortable. Unposted, it is slightly back-weighted. The cap screws on, which some people love for the security, and others find slower than a snap cap. The community loves the M200 because it delivers German build quality and piston filler reliability at a price point that undercuts the Lamy 2000 by $60 to $80. The Lamy 2000 gets the headlines. The Pelikan M200 gets inked up and used. At $120, this is not an impulse buy. It is a pen you buy once and keep for years. That is why it is number 5. Number 4, Sailor Compass and Procolor, $35 to $45. Goulet pens, Jet pens, Van S pens. This pen introduces you to feedback. Once you understand what feedback actually is, you will either love Sailor forever or realize you prefer smoothness. Feedback is not scratchiness, it is tactile response. You feel the nib moving across the paper, almost like a pencil. The sound is different too, a faint whisper as the tines contact the fibers. Some people describe it as writing on paper for the first time after years of writing on glass. The Sailor nib is precise. Japanese quality control means the tipping is ground to tight tolerances, and the ink flow is consistent. The line width is exactly what the label says. A Sailor fine writes as a fine, not a medium pretending. The Compass and Procolor are entry-level models in the Sailor lineup. They use the same nibs as the more expensive ProGear Slim and the 1911 Standard. Same feedback, same precision, same writing experience. The difference is the body material and the price. The Compass uses Sailor's proprietary cartridge and converter system. Sailor cartridges are widely stocked at Goulet, Jet Pens, and Van S. The pen is light. Unposted writing works fine. The cap snaps on securely. The community recommends the Sailor Compass to anyone who has only ever used smooth Western nibs and wants to know what the alternative feels like. Feedback is not worse. It is different. For $40, you find out which camp you belong to. That is why it is number 4. Let me be honest with you about what happens next. The top 3 are not compromises. They are not budget picks that over-deliver. They are better choices. Full stop. No asterisks. Number 3, Faber-Castell Loom, $50 to $65. Goulet pens, Jet Pens, Amazon. This is the pen the community wishes more people knew about. Faber-Castell is famous for pencils and art supplies, not fountain pens. The Loom flies under the radar in a way that pens from Lamy or Pilot never do. That obscurity is undeserved. The Loom has a metal grip section, a spring-loaded clip that actually works, and a nib that writes with the kind of smooth reliability you expect from German engineering. The grip is narrow and hexagonal. It gives you control without forcing your fingers into a specific position the way the Lamy Safari does. The weight is balanced. The pen feels solid without being heavy. The clip is the signature feature. It is tensioned with a small spring, so it grips securely to a pocket or notebook without bending or snapping off. Most clips at this price are decorative. The Loom's clip is functional. The nib is steel, smooth, and wet. Not Pelikan wet, but wetter than Lamy. The flow is generous enough that even drier inks behave. Faber-Castell grinds their nibs in-house in Germany. The quality control is tight. The pen takes standard international cartridges and converters, which makes it easy to refill anywhere. The community loves the Loom because it does not compromise. It is not the cheapest pen. It is not the flashiest pen. It is one of the most reliable pens you can buy for $60. Reliability is what secretly better actually means. That is why it is number 3. Number 2, Hongdian Black Forest and Forest Series, $12 to $18. Amazon, Jet Pens. This pen shocked the community when it first showed up in enthusiast forums about 3 years ago. Hongdian is a Chinese manufacturer that most American buyers had never heard of until the Black Forest started appearing in everyday carry posts and budget pen recommendation threads. The pen is all metal, brass body, steel cap. Weight that feels like it should cost 3 times the price. The finish is matte black with subtle engraving along the barrel. The design is clean and minimal. No logos, no branding. Just a solid pen that feels expensive in the hand. The nib is smooth. Not Pilot smooth, but far smoother than anyone expected from a pen that costs $15 shipped from Amazon. The flow is wet and consistent. Hongdian uses German-style nibs that take standard international cartridges and converters. The community's reaction was immediate. People ordered one out of curiosity. Then they ordered 3 more as gifts. Then they started recommending it to anyone who wanted a metal pen but did not want to spend $50 on a Kaweco Sport or $80 on a Lamy Studio. The Black Forest does not pretend to be a luxury pen. It is a budget pen that over-delivers on-build quality and writing experience. The cap posts securely. The threads are smooth. The clip is functional. There are no glaring compromises. The pen occasionally shows up with minor nib tuning issues, but at this price point, even a 15-minute session with a loop and some micro mesh is worth it. The Hongdian Black Forest is the pen that proves you do not need a heritage brand or a famous logo to make something people actually want to write with. That is why it is number 2. Number 1, Pilot Custom 74, $150 to $170. Goulet, pens, jet pens, pen chalet. This is the pen the community wishes it had bought first. The Custom 74 is Pilot's cartridge converter platform with the same 14-karat gold nib that appears in pens that cost twice as much. Smooth, wet, reliable. You stop thinking about the pen and start thinking about the writing. The nib is available in 7 widths, extra fine to broad. Specialty grinds like soft, fine, medium, and music nibs. That level of customization is rare outside of custom pen makers. You are not locked into one-size-fits-all. You choose the nib that matches how you write. Pilot delivers it with the kind of quality control that Japanese manufacturing is known for. The body is lightweight resin. The design is understated. No flashy demonstrator barrel, no bold colors, no eye-catching details. The Custom 74 looks like a professional writing instrument, not a collector's piece. That simplicity is intentional. Pilot designed this pen for people who write every day, not people who display pens in cases. The cap screws on securely. The pen posts comfortably. The grip section is smooth and slightly tapered. Everything about the Custom 74 is designed to get out of the way so you can focus on the page. The converter holds about 1 milliliter of ink, which is standard for this type of pen. If you want more capacity, Pilot sells the Custom 823, which is a vacuum filler, but it costs nearly twice as much. The Custom 74 delivers 90% of the writing experience for half the price. The community loves this pen because it writes like a flagship pen without the flagship price. Pilot's gold nibs are famous for being smooth and forgiving. The tipping is polished to the point where you barely feel the paper. The ink flow is wet enough to handle dry inks and smooth enough that even cheap paper performs better than it should. This is the pen you buy once and ink forever. It does not need special care. It does not need babying. It just writes. That is why it is number 1. The pattern is the same across every entry on this list. The pens that get recommended in the forums are not the pens that get advertised the hardest. The difference is who is doing the talking. Marketing teams push the pens with the biggest margins and the loudest launches. The community pushes the pens that survive daily use. Refill after refill, year after year. The secretly better pens prioritize substance over story, mechanism over mythology, writing experience over brand prestige. You can apply this lens to inks, to notebooks, to every corner of the hobby. Look for the quiet consensus, not the loud campaign. Ask what people actually use, not what they aspirationally collect. The pens on this list are not perfect. Some have quirks, some have trade-offs. Every single one of them has earned long-term loyalty from people who write. That loyalty is the only metric marketing cannot fake. If this changed your wish list, share it with someone who is about to make the same mistake. Tell me which one I got wrong. Tell me which pen I left off that deserves to be here. What is inked up in your daily carry right now? Drop a comment. The conversation does not end with the list. It starts here.